Imagine this: a ship sailing perfectly in the vast Atlantic, yet completely empty. This is the true story of the Mary Celeste, a vessel that became one of history's most enduring maritime mysteries, a real-life ghost ship. On December 5, 1872, the crew of the Decode spotted a ship adrift, sailing erratically towards them. As they drew closer, they hailed it but received no response. Something was terribly wrong. Boarding the vessel, they found its name painted on the stern: Mary Celeste, out of New York. The ship was deserted. Not a single soul was on board. What they found inside only deepened the mystery. The ship was entirely seaworthy. Although some sails were torn and there was some water in the hold, it was nothing a competent crew couldn't handle. The cargo, over 1,700 barrels of industrial alcohol, was almost entirely intact. Below deck, in the crew's quarters, clothes were neatly folded, and personal belongings lay undisturbed. In the captain's cabin, everything seemed frozen in time. Valuables, including money and jewelry, were left untouched. A sewing machine stood ready with a child's garment still in the works. The ship's logbook was found, but its final entry was made 9 days earlier, on November 25th. It simply recorded the ship's position, with no mention of any trouble. The only thing missing? The ship's single lifeboat. So, where did everyone go? 10 people had vanished into thin air. Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife Sarah, their 2-year-old daughter Sophia, and a crew of 7 experienced sailors. They were all gone. Captain Briggs was known as a respectable, skilled, and firm-minded seaman, not the type to abandon his ship without a very good reason. His wife and daughter's presence on board suggested a calm, routine voyage, not a perilous adventure. The crewmen were all seasoned professionals. What could have possibly made them leave a perfectly good ship in the middle of the ocean? Let's dive into the theories, from the plausible to the outright bizarre. The first thought was pirates, but this was quickly dismissed. There were no signs of violence, no bloodstains, and nothing of value was stolen. The valuable cargo was still there. Pirates would have plundered the ship, not left it pristine. How about a mutiny? Again, the evidence doesn't fit. Mutiny would have been a violent affair, with clear signs of a struggle. But the ship was orderly, almost peaceful. There was no indication of a fight. Captain Briggs was well regarded by his crew, making a mutiny seem highly unlikely. The crewmen weren't desperate characters. They were professionals. A more scientific theory emerged, centered around the ship's cargo, barrels of denatured alcohol. The idea is that some of the barrels may have leaked, creating a buildup of flammable vapor in the hold. Fearing an imminent, catastrophic explosion, Captain Briggs might have ordered everyone into the lifeboat as a temporary precaution, perhaps towing it behind the ship with a long rope until the danger passed. A sudden squall or a snapped tow line could have then separated them from the Mary Celeste, leaving them stranded and lost at sea. This theory gained traction because 9 of the 1,701 barrels were found empty. However, the crew that salvaged the ship reported no strong smell of alcohol fumes, and the hatches were closed, not blown open as you might expect from an explosion. Another natural explanation involves a waterspout or a sudden violent storm. It's possible the ship was hit by an unexpected weather event that caused panic. Perhaps the chronometer was malfunctioning, or the pumps were thought to be failing, leading Captain Briggs to believe the ship was sinking faster than it was. In a moment of crisis, they could have abandoned ship for the lifeboat, only to be overwhelmed by the very sea they were trying to escape. This would explain the torn sails and the water in the hold. But would a seasoned captain like Briggs really misjudge the situation so badly? It seems improbable. And of course, where there's a mystery, there are paranormal tales. Stories of sea monsters, alien abductions, and ghost encounters have all been linked to the Mary Celeste. Some have even suggested the ship sailed into a rift in time, a sort of Bermuda Triangle-like anomaly. While these stories are captivating, they remain pure speculation, with not a shred of evidence to support them. They make for great fiction, but they don't solve the real-world puzzle. After its discovery, the Mary Celeste was sailed to Gibraltar by the Decode's crew, where a maritime court convened to investigate. The proceedings were fraught with suspicion. The Attorney General for Gibraltar, a man named Frederick Solly Flood, was convinced that foul play was involved. He suspected the Decode crew had murdered everyone on the Mary Celeste to claim the salvage reward. He even suggested that traces of blood were found on the captain's sword, though this was later proven to be rust. The investigation was exhaustive, but ultimately no crime could be proven. The court awarded the salvagers a reward, but it was much smaller than usual, a sign of the lingering suspicion. The official verdict was, well, there was no official verdict. The case was left open. The fate of the Mary Celeste itself is less mysterious, but just as tragic. After the incident, the ship was sold and passed through 17 different owners over the next 11 years, none of whom had much luck with her. She seemed cursed. In 1885, her final captain deliberately ran her aground on a reef in Haiti as part of an insurance fraud scheme. He loaded her with worthless cargo, claimed it was valuable, and wrecked her. But even in her final act, the Mary Celeste seemed to defy a simple end. The ship didn't sink as expected, and the insurance company investigated, leading to the captain's ruin. But the real legacy of the Mary Celeste is the human story at its heart. The story of Captain Briggs, his young family, and his crew. They set sail from New York on a routine voyage, full of hope and plans for the future, and simply vanished. Their families waited for letters that never came, for a ship that would never return with their loved ones. They were left with nothing but questions and a silence that has stretched across more than 150 years. To this day, the Mary Celeste remains the quintessential ghost ship. It is a haunting reminder of the power and mystery of the ocean. Despite all our technology and knowledge, some events defy explanation. We can analyze the facts, debate the theories, and search for clues. But we may never know what truly happened in those 9 days between the last log entry and the ship's discovery. The 10 souls who were aboard took their secret with them. The story of the Mary Celeste isn't just a historical puzzle. It's a tale that speaks to our deepest fears of the unknown. It reminds us that no matter how much we think we control our world, there are forces far greater than ourselves. Perhaps some mysteries are never meant to be solved. Perhaps, as the old sailors say, the ocean keeps its secrets. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into one of history's greatest mysteries. What do you think happened to the crew of the Mary Celeste? Let us know your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoy stories like this, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.